Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thanks again so much for joining me here. I hope you're having a great day. Let's take a quick look here again at Ethereum. We're going to clean up the chart here really quick and kind of see roughly what we're looking at here. We do have still a descending trend here we want to kind of pay attention to. And again, just make sure we understand best practice and big picture for trading coins like this, because too, honestly, the way that things are moving right now, there's a solid chance we could see further downside just from Bitcoin specifically. If that happens, we're going to have to look at some lower liquidation levels here too for ETH. So why don't we go ahead and take a look at that here. Let's quickly note a couple of things first and go from there. First of all, let's look at the last 7 days of liquidation for ETH. We take a look at this here. In the last 7 days, there's quite a lot of liquidation at different levels. Tons of liquidation at about what 2 to 3 billion. Up there at about 3,700. So there's a lot of liquidation up above the price action, but you can also argue the same thing below the price action too at 3,200. Okay? So that basically just tells us that the price could go honestly in either direction. And if we do take a look at the monthly here, let's quickly understand what that looks like for us here. We can see there's liquidation both above and below the price action. Majority of the lower end liquidation levels have been swept here at about 3,400. So we're going to take a lot of downward momentum from Bitcoin to get down to this 3,000 mark. I personally think that's less likely. It would make sense for ETH to kind of continue higher to that 3,700 to 4,000 range. This is just based on liquidation. It's purely speculation at this moment here, honestly. We got to break through a lot of resistance levels before we even get to that upper level. But from a liquidation perspective, there's more to the upside than the downside, and it's closer. That just kind of makes more sense to me. Either way, having said that kind of to preface, what we like to look at is a few other key factors here. Let's quickly double check the daily time frame and look at some moving averages. We're still pretty bullish on this coin though. Honestly, if you take a look, we're above most moving averages minus the 20-day SMA. And the 20-day SMA is not a big deal. It's more sort of just like kind of a trend setter, letting us know we want to be careful taking a long position until we're above that. This running fairly concurrent with the descending trend line, at least parallel with it. That's generally letting us know that we're on the right track here with that trend line. We also want to note we're losing momentum to the downside here with the MACD. We're also stochastically swinging upwards, but we're right there at about 50 on the RSI. Until we close above, I'm not going to feel super confident about taking a trade. Generally speaking, I like to wait until the price action is over 50 on the RSI on the daily. Again, it's not like a one thing that I use to take a trade, but it's certainly a complementing factor letting us know that it's a little premature just to jump into a long. However, we can kind of see that we're establishing higher lows here for the moment, while most coins are doing that right now. Bitcoin pulled back recently. Let's see how that kind of that downtrend treats us here. Before we look at that, though, I want to talk about stochastic RSI swinging back down. RSI at 50. We close below 50 here today. I would say we might have more consideration for further downside. I'm also on board with Bitcoin retesting that $63,000 mark. There's about $10 billion worth of liquidation there. It's not a good thing for most of the market. So having said that, if we look at MACD and stochastic RSI, there's a likelihood of the price continuing to pull back here. Okay. Again, Bitcoin kind of faked out a lot of people here with some late longs that try to get in at 66,000. That's been a strong resistance level this whole time. And that's reaffirming itself here as well on the charts. If we take a look at this, we can see a pretty obvious line right there at about 36.25. So that's so far the tentative resistance level that we have here. So we want to pay attention to this trend here and kind of just see what's going on. If we break lower, then we might be in a consideration for a short. We're also testing those lower moving averages at the 50 and the 20. Generally, these are not favorable signs. Okay, so again, I don't love what I see here. This is not like a perfect situation. I'll clean up the chart and post this on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. So if you're not familiar, I always post playout charts here, just kind of giving you a perspective on certain coins that I'm paying attention to or analyzing, and just giving you the kind of the overview. So check that out if you could. Of course, comment below if you get a chance to. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow. Really appreciate it. So hourly time frame. Quickly to note here, Ichimoku cloud. We're above the cloud, but the lagging span is not free and clear. The conversion line's compressed. Basically just letting us know that we're in a no buy zone. I've been talking about this mostly today. There's a couple of outliers, but most altcoins right now are exuding bearish qualities and a lot of indecisive qualities. So usually the best thing to do is just kind of stay on the sidelines and let the charts play out and pick a side. Okay, so until we can close comfortably above this area or this area, we have no reason to consider taking a trade because it's very premature and it's more so just range-bound activity. So me personally, I'm going to be looking for a closure above this 36.25 mark, preferably above the descending trend line and maintaining above that 20-day SMA on the daily. Okay. Right here on the hourly, though, if we do take a look at one last thing here, our TPO, we can see that we've got a lot of range of motion. Okay. So that generally is not fantastic. when you're trying to find a good trade here. But in the last 24 hours, we've seen this last 24-hour period, roughly about 3,600 is that resistance. With the price action being below that, that tells us the bears are controlling this time frame. They're even controlling the last 48 hours. That leads me to believe that we're going to see the price action pull back just because we're below that level. So if we close below 35.40, it's a rough estimate, then there's a solid consideration for the price continuing lower. Bitcoin's in a very similar situation right now with its TPO, and it needs to close over 65.1 in order to get there. Okay? So it's not perfect. Again, these are not exact situations, but this here, 65,100, we don't close above that today, we're going to be in trouble. Okay? So my personal opinion is that we're going to probably see further downside from Bitcoin, which will trickle into coins like Ethereum. Just keep in mind, Ethereum is a strong coin in general, so while it may drop, it'll probably recover quickly. So you got to recognize this coin is fairly volatile, so it's best not to go too crazy with high leverage. So low leverage, folks, tight targets. Once the trade is invalidated, get out. That's kind of what we're doing with our swing trades now. We've adjusted some things since we took a series of stop losses earlier in the month after Fed meeting. While it was neutral, shot the price down for Bitcoin. Okay, so again, you never truly know what happens, and even the best traders are having difficulty here and there and everywhere. You're always going to struggle, but you can also persevere too if you just focus and you calibrate. Okay, so make sure you do that. All right, folks, I hope you learned something today. Thanks again so much for watching. Appreciate the request again from our community members there. If you are interested in our signals, just keep in mind we have some pretty awesome signals here lately with our day trading bots, and we are shorting Bitcoin right now with success. While we do hit an occasional stop loss, the amount of wins are so much greater that it's just awesome. I'll be posting those results here soon because somebody had asked for those recently. Thanks again. Either way, folks, look forward to seeing you in the next one. Have a good rest of your day. Take care.